like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like.
Hello, everybody. I'm Granville, Emerson, and welcome to LidLine Sports with my co-hosts Renault, Pepe Bean, and little Otis Stevenson. What's up, fellas?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
I'm doing good. Pep, how you doing?
All right.
You don't look too chipper over there. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you? Oh, how are you?
Here we go.
I'm gotten over my Seahawks hangover. Your Steelers hangover look fresh.
Yeah, ain't no hangover here, bro.
No hangover there?
No.
All right. Not from going 11-0 and talking all that trash when you was 11-0?
Well, I was 11-0. I think I should talk trash when I'm 11-0.
Not really. You're not supposed to be talking trash until you actually do something. You know, that's false braggadocio when you're talking trash and then your team just gets mollywopped by their rival.
Yep. Well, I can't talk trash now, so I might as well talk it when I can.
You got to listen to other folks talk trash now, huh?
Yep.
For those of you all who missed it, I don't know. I turned on the game, and I looked at the score was 28-0. I'm like, what happened? And then I looked like it's just the first quarter, 28-0.
Yep.
At Pittsburgh. So I understand that Juju, how you say his name? Smith-Schuster?
Yeah.
Smith, yeah.
I heard that he was, talking trash. That trash talking gets you in trouble.
I thought he
was,
learned
man. He was telling, he was talking about it's the same amount.
Yeah. What'd you say, El?
I thought he learned his lesson from the last time he did that.
It's the same dude that was stopping on the Tennessee Titans thing. Yeah. It's been proven over the last week that a lot of folks ain't too bright in America.
Yeah. Those are facts.
A lot of folks ain't too bright, man. When you looked at Washington, D.C. last week, man, you saw folks tearing up the U.S. Capitol and then posting their videos on social media. That's dumb.
Like you didn't
my man had his work badge on.
You didn't break into a federal building.
Right? Did you? The funniest thing I saw today was they were arresting dudes coming off the airplane.
Off the airport.
I saw that.
Yeah.
They dragged dude out the airport crying.
I saw a video. Somebody was mad because they were part of the people who ran in there, and he found out he was on the do not flies list, and he was actually mad about it.
Yeah. He was wondering how he was going to get back home, and they tried to go home. Going to jail. Get the word about flying, bro. We got a nice chauffeured limousine out there to take you to jail. You ain't got to worry about it. You ain't flying nowhere. Anyway, I just wanted to just talk a little trash to you, Pep, about the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's all.
It's all good.
The Steelers historically have been a squad that I like and always have followed. And, of course, with Mike Tomlin there, and I was hoping that, they would go deep into the playoffs this year. But the Cleveland Browns would have none of that. So,
yeah, Browns went deep into them.
Yeah. What's up, Michael Carter? Shout out. The Browns did go deep in. What was the final score, Pep? Do you know?
48-37.
Okay, I just wanted you to say it.
Like Pep, how confident were you going into this playoffs, knowing that I wouldn't say the Steelers limped, but they definitely look like a total different team over the last 5 games.
Right. Well, I'm not going to say that I had confidence that they were going to go deep in the playoffs, and I'm not going to even say I was confident they were going to win this game. But I did believe that they were going to beat the Browns And not because I thought they were the same old Browns. I just figured that, the Steelers would prevail because, the Browns had some adversity, not being able to practice much. Their head coach was not going to be there. So I thought that was a ready-made excuse for the Browns to lose. And so, I figured that the Steelers would win this game. But of course, as we saw right from the start, I think the first, 5 seconds of the game, because I was cooking. So I wasn't even actually looking at the TV at the time. And I heard him say, well, it's 7-0. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. And so I came around the corner and looked at the TV, and then I saw what happened. I was like, well, here we go. So
Yeah.
after that, it was a mess.
Pep, what's your thoughts on Big Ben? Is he done? I mean, he threw for 500 and some yards yesterday, but he threw 3 critical interceptions that helped Cleveland get out to that 28-0 run.
Yeah. Well, he's my quarterback, but you know what? When it's your time, it's your time. And usually, we all know we've said this 100 times. You're usually the last one to know when it's your time. He can still perform, but let's face it, his best part of him is over. And if he stays there next year, it's a big, heavy hit on the cap. So either he's going to have to restructure, or I don't know what else to tell you. But to be honest, I think they need to move on from Big Ben. No disrespect to him or what he's done, but I think that it might be time to move on from him. I would like to see them get a younger quarterback, either draft one or maybe make a trade for one. But if they're going to go with him next year, they're going to have to make some big changes and some restructuring. I don't know if that's going to be worth it because of his age.
Yeah. He was 47 of 68 for 501 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Right.
And 4 interceptions.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be fooled with that because they were behind the whole game by 3, 4, whatever touchdowns. So he has to throw the ball. And eventually you're going to get some rhythm going, and you're going to pick up some yardage. And plus, Cleveland's going to let you have some underneath stuff. So you're going to be able to get 10, 15 yards a pop and build that up. So I'm not going to say that he was magnificent in getting those 501 yards by any stretch, because you got to include those 4 INTs, and especially the ones that were critical, early in the game that basically cost them. So, there's nothing to be impressive about by any stretch by that.
Yeah. Moving on from the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game, the other debacle over the weekend happened here in Seattle with the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll's mantra is, can we win in the first quarter? Can you win the game in the first quarter? No. Can you win the game in the second quarter? No. Can you win the game in the third quarter? No. Can you win the game in the fourth quarter? Yeah, that's when we win. Well, the Cleveland Browns say, can we win the game in the first quarter? Yes, we can. And so this whole that Seattle has been going on in their mind that they have to wait till the fourth quarter to win is why we keep getting put out of the playoffs.
Exactly.
We Seattle Seahawks, my squad, we've got to come out firing and not say, okay, the game is close, we're going to win the game in the fourth quarter. That's BS. That time is over. And I just want to be on record as saying to Pete Carroll, you need to change.
Right.
You need to change. We won the Super Bowl in 2014. It is 2021. You need to change. We have talent on both sides of the ball. You got something to say? Got something to add?
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
Jump on in there if you need to jump, because I'll be rambling.
Well, I was going to say, what I was going to say is, Pete, in his presser today, to make it short, he was basically saying that he wants the team to run more than they have, especially this year. He said that, the play calling was fine for him because earlier they weren't turning the ball over, and he said that once they started turning the ball over is when he actually started making his input on the offense, and consequently, you notice that's how they got more conservative. So I think if you want to be a running team, you got to have runners. The Seahawks did not have not one 100-yard rushing game by any runner this season. And if you want to be a running team, you got to have consistency. And they're not consistent. Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson are basically the same guy. They need a guy Chris Carson is fine, but they also need a guy that can shake and bake. And they don't have that. They got Alex Collins. He's the same as Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde. They got 3 running backs that are the same thing. So they need a guy that can juke, right, and have some speed. If they want to be a running team, they got to have consistent runners. You can't be a running team if you're not consistent.
Yeah. I think what has clouded his judgment is he is living off of the Hall of Fame running back that he had, Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch was the difference for his style of play, because Marshawn had what no other back that I've seen since I haven't seen anybody like Marshawn in the league that has power like Derrick Henry and speed like Alvin Kamara. And Marshawn has shiftiness, right?
Yes.
So we ain't had nobody close to Marshawn. And Marshawn was his big plays in the running game made up for everything, because you had to try to stop Marshawn first, which allowed us to throw the ball. Yep. But we don't have a back that makes you want to stop us first. You want to stop Russell Wilson first, right? Yes. And so by playing Pete Carroll's style of football, trying to run the ball all the time and keep the game close, you limit possessions for your offense and the other team's offense. So when you're playing a team like the New York Giants or the Los Angeles Rams with a quarterback who can't throw because his thumb was broken and he just had surgery, you allow them to stay in the game, and then if you turn the ball over, you lose. Did not that happen in both those 2 games? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so I said this before, and I feel like this is what happened to their team, because as a coach, you have to have players that believe in your philosophy. And I feel like after they had such great success at the beginning of the season with a new offensive philosophy, and then Pete reeled them in and started making them run first, then I don't think that they bought into that, and subsequently they got out of the playoffs for trying to go with that philosophy. If you look at the numbers, the Seahawks were 6-1. Their only loss was to the Arizona Cardinals, 37-34. Okay. Right. Then they beat the San Francisco 49ers the next week, right?
Right.
They scored 28, I think, or 27 or 28, up close 30. We were leading the league in points. Do you remember?
Yes.
Right? Then after we had the aberration in Buffalo, which was not the offense's fault, it was the defense's fault, because we had my man that came from the Washington football team. What's his name playing DB? Quentin Dunbar out there with one leg getting toasted the whole game, right? And then we came back and lost 44-34, all right? After that game, Pete said, we've got to get back to our way of football. Ball control offense. Ha!
That's the point that I was going to make, was the two contrast styles of play of when we were actually playing really well and then seeing us how we were playing in the second half, and how you just said, G, we went more to a running style game. And it's like, okay, we used to have Marshawn Lynch. Now you have a great quarterback and two really good wide receivers who are getting you points in the first half of the season. It's like, why take the ball out of their hands? And I understand that Russ didn't have one of his best years when it comes to taking care of the ball. But like I said, I mean, we're also the wins and loss record show.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that either.
You make a great point. What you do by doing that is you take the ball out of the hands of your best talent and put it in the hands of mediocre talent, right? Because I'm like, to me, Tyler Lockett is always open, right? And if you limit their opportunities to catch the ball, you're limiting the productivity you could have in your offense.
Yep.
Right? With a receiver like Tyler Lockett, with a receiver like DK Metcalf, with a tight end like Will Dissly and Hollister and Olsen. Man, I mean, and I even felt like the line blocking was a lot better on that scheme. You know why? Because the defense could not just tee off on Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Right? And so I just feel like in today's NFL, you cannot go far with the run-first offense. Okay? A ball control offense. Pep, who's the leading rusher in the league? Who's the leading rusher? Who?
Derrick Henry.
He had how many yards?
Henry.
2K.
He had over 2,000 yards. Yeah. Where is he at now?
Yes.
He's at home.
He's at home. What was the score of that game? What was the score of that game?
20-13.
Yeah, they couldn't score. The Baltimore Ravens packed the line, and there was nothing Derrick Henry could do. Now the ball's in Ryan Tannehill's hands.
Yeah. Baltimore scored 20, and they won.
Yep. Yes.
Exactly. So you cannot win with that style. And then when you have a quarterback like Baltimore's quarterback, where you have a run-pass option, and you don't put in any plays for Russell Wilson to have a run-pass option?
None.
Zero.
Everything was vanilla. What I understand, everything was vanilla about the Seahawks. Like they didn't know this was a playoff game. Because Chicago Bears, hold on, let me say this. The Chicago Bears did a flea flicker in the first quarter. They were they know they're in the playoffs. They got to do what they got to try to do to score. And they should have scored. The dude just dropped the pass. But you know,
I'm talking about plays.
At least
I'm not talking about trick plays. I'm talking about misdirection plays. I'm talking about rolling Russell Wilson out and putting him on the edge for a run pass.
I understand that. But what I was saying is Seattle was just vanilla, period. The whole game.
No doubt they were vanilla. And I saw a stat today that Russell Wilson was pressured on 55% of his passes.
Sheesh.
Right.
That's more than every other pass attempt. He was pressured. You know why?
Yes.
They weren't worried about the run. They knew if they were going to run the ball, they're going to stop them. They stopped them. If you break off a couple, like I was talking to somebody, Chris Carson had decent stats. He had like 16 carries for 77 yards. That's a decent stat.
Yeah.
But not if that's
4.8.
Exactly.
Right?
That's almost 5 yards a carry. That's great.
Yeah, but now if that's your total offense, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
Just like you said too, G, it's like why not mix in like some quick passing? I mean, the Rams have a great secondary and are known for taking away the long ball. You have guys that are quick and that can get the ball up the field in the short passing game. I think you said that last week. And you're trying to put Russell back in the pocket with a crazy defensive line. He's not going to have much time to throw. So, I just didn't like the game plan at all.
What happened to slants and quick outs? What happened to those?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All that stuff that they did at the beginning of the season, you saw none of that. And if you look at the scores, the final scores of the games after the Buffalo game, except for the New York Jets, they're all in the 20s or less.
Or less, yes.
Or less.
Yeah.
And so if you fix your defense and keep your old offense, you're winning. So
they got
all
serious
we got to
coaching
go
issues.
back and run the football. That's nonsense. That's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking. That right there, like I really, really respect Pete Carroll. He's a great coach. But that right there tells me he's a 68-year-old man that don't want to change.
Yeah, it's a new game. And unless we're getting an elite running back this offseason, it's a passing
running back.
What is that?
Elite running back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I know our GM is cheap, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have. I mean, they got to pay too many people.
Yeah, that too.
They got to pay the dude that they gave away 2 first-round draft picks for.
For sure.
You got to pay that dude and extend his contract.
They got 24 free agents.
Yeah.
So you got to pick who you want.
They got a lot of dudes to pay, and so everybody's talking about Russell Wilson need to give up some of his salary. Like everybody always try to tell folks to do with their money. I ain't telling nobody what to do with their money. That's your money. If you want to give it up, thank you. I didn't ask you to give up your money. The GM's job is to work that out. Well, Tom Brady gave up his money. Yeah, his wife was making way more money than he was. And he got it on the back end. So these people, man, just don't listen to folk. Oh, when you get your paper, don't listen to folks tell you what to do with your paper, right? Of course, the other thing is, Pep, you cannot run the ball when you're behind. All you're doing is run the clock out.
Especially against the Rams.
Yeah.
Who got the defensive line in football.
Exactly.
And the best defense.
Exactly. You can't run the ball. You 2 scores behind and you running.
And then when you got opportunities, you got to take them. Like when they were 4th and 1, they should have went for that. Come on. And then they mismanaged the clock a lot. And not just this game, but there's been several games where it seems like they're 4th and 1 and they get a timeout and they come back and they don't get the playoff for whatever reason. That's coaching. They got issues.
So
they got to fix.
So I'm listening
How do you know what play you run after my man Lewis sat on the ground for 2 minutes hurt? You got all that time to figure out what you're going to do. Then you get to the line and don't know what you're doing. That makes no sense.
Well, Pete said that was his fault because he said he got in the headset and he got all in the play call.
But he's always saying it's his fault or whatever. Yeah. They're always doing that.
Yeah, and so
that ain't the first time.
Yeah, and I also, a lot of people were trying to blame Russell Wilson for it, but I clearly saw the back judge do this. That means reset the clock.
Play clock.
45-second clock, right? They did not reset the 45-second clock. And I hear that they weren't supposed to, but still, Russell Wilson's looking at the dude, and he's going like this before he goes into the huddle. And so Russell Wilson goes in the huddle thinking the clock is reset, right? Then he comes out of the huddle, and he only has like 11 seconds on the clock or something like that. So, and then people blame him for that. But you could clearly see also, too, when Russell Wilson was walking off the field when they called the penalty, Russell Wilson was doing this, too.
Yeah.
Like, what the signal the back judge gave me. Like, I guess you're supposed to do your own due diligence and not trust the ref and check the clock. But, I can't really put that on him more than the coaching staff. Somebody got to I mean, just look at on the other side of the ball. Sean McVay sprinted all the way down the field to call timeout.
Yeah.
I guess Pete can't sprint like that, but still. somebody on the staff could have called timeout. And that was critical. It was 9 minutes left to go in the game.
Yep.
Yeah, that was critical. And so to wrap this up, and we'll go to see what's happening inside the NBA when we come back out of the break. But to put a bow on this, the Seahawks don't need a new quarterback. Pittsburgh Steelers probably do need a new quarterback. We'll talk more NFL after we talk NBA. I think that the Seahawks, to me, are going to go the wrong direction if Pete Carroll does not wake up and understand what he has offensively, and that I don't care if you want to run, make a freaking adjustment. Throw the ball to Chris Carson out of the backfield. How about that?
Yeah.
How about throwing him a swing route? Right? I mean, I see other teams doing it easily. We could do that easily.
Check.
Right?
Check
I mean,
down.
Check. Yeah. I mean, even more than a check down. Just do a design play to get the defense moving. Right? And not just sitting there rushing the pass.
Yep.
That's my point. Right? If all you got to do is rush. The Rams rushed us with 4 people.
Yep. Oh, blitz.
Yeah. And Aaron Donald spent some time out, and we still couldn't move.
Yeah, we had bad schemes. We had dudes double teaming the other dude and leaving Aaron Donald in single coverage. Like, who thought of that? What genius thought that up? Either that's coaching or a player making a bonehead move and picking the wrong dude. But you cannot leave Aaron Donald single coverage and allow him to rush the passer and only one dude blocking. That's not going to work. So I listened to the press conference of Pete was trying, we were trying to figure out how to block him. I'm like, not with one dude, Pete. Not with one dude. And so, anyway, our seasons are over, Pep. And I don't, I'll just be watching from now on. Just is what it is. It's funny how it goes when your team is out of the playoffs. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
When your team is in the playoffs, you watching all the people you could play.
Yeah. Trying to watch the Super Bowl, but yeah, all these other games don't really matter now. No more.
Yeah, I'll watch the Super Bowl too. Anyway, stay with us. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to LidLine Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, Facebook Live, and what's it called? Twist? I don't even know what it's called. Anyway, on all your podcast platforms. We'll be right back right after this.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update.
Rainier Avenue Radio broadcasting a mental health town hall meeting. Thursday, January 14th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 King County Council member Gamai Zahilai and the National Alliance on Mental Illness present a mental health town hall meeting. Panelists discuss the racial, historical, and generational trauma combined with the effects of these tumultuous times on the mental health of Black. Tune in Thursday, January 14th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Mental Health Town Hall meeting. You deserve to be heard and understood. Listen on Rainier Avenue Radio or watch on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Let's come together, support each other, and let our voices be heard. Thursday, January 14th, 7:30 p.m. A mental health town hall live. Thursday, January 14th, 6 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
On Rainier Avenue Radio.world, look for the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show. I'm Dennis Weaver, your good food guide and host, helping you to feel good and look good, and who wouldn't want some of that? All that and more from the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Stories, songs, and guests. Begin living the organic good food life, and the rest of your life just may be the best of your life. Hose up, baby, to your help.
This is the news on Rainier Avenue Radio. The NBA is urging teams to make increased commitments towards providing mental health resources to players and staff, releasing updated guidelines that reflect the challenge of playing amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. The league told teams they should establish, quote, education and awareness materials, focus on managing mental health during times of uncertainty, and coping strategies for addressing the emotional toll of the pandemic, unquote. The league wrote in a memo obtained by the Associated Press, quote, given the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, taking care of one's mental health and having access to resources are important aspects of managing the feelings of anxiety, uncertainty, and stress that have characterized much of 2020 and will, in all likelihood, be present during the 2020-2021 season, unquote. And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not driving my sweet AMC Pacer through the car wash, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. You missed a spot.
That sweet AMC Pacer. You're listening to LidLine Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, Facebook Live, and all of your podcast platforms. Also YouTube. It looks like Alabama is too much for Ohio State. Justin Fields is not having a good game. Into the third quarter, he's only 6 of 15 for 90 yards. The Heisman Trophy candidate, we said he'd be a problem.
That's an understatement.
Devontae Smith, 12 receptions for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it's not even the fourth quarter yet. 10 minutes left to go in the third.
Whew. That boy's bad.
He's getting busy.
If it wasn't such a quarterback-driven league, he definitely should get a look at the number 1 pick. But I understand that you have 2 elite quarterbacks coming into this league, but that boy is a game changer.
Yeah, I don't think Jacksonville can afford not to take a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the Jets, I'm taking him. You win with playmakers. If you got a quarterback, you got to have playmakers.
Yeah.
So, I just think that guy is good. I mean, he's just really, really good. He's a special player. You can't pass up on special players.
Right. And that's what Sam Darnold would need. Somebody like him. So I wouldn't mind taking him if I was the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
I mean, he reminds me of he might be even better than Deshaun Jackson, but he reminds me of Deshaun Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Eagles. All right,
Yeah. So we started to see a little bit of COVID settle in now in the NBA season after NBA started all right with the whole dealing with COVID. We've seen the 76ers have to play with only technically 7 players, but they had 8, but 1 player was just coming back from injury, and Doc Rivers said that there was no way he was going to play them. And that was after Steph Curry found out, or not Steph, Seth Curry had found out during the first quarter of an NBA game that he was positive for COVID. And so when that happens, everybody who has been in close contact with him or been around him has to now test and quarantine. And so that was about a quarter of their team. So I know they were missing Tobias and some other players, and they had to go out there against the Denver Nuggets and play with 8. And then now we come to today, and we were short 2 games because the Mavericks had lost 4 players and did not have enough players to suit up against the Pelicans today. So that game was postponed, and the Boston Celtics and Chicago Bulls game was also postponed because the Celtics did not have enough. And actually the Celtics last game before this against the Miami Heat was postponed as well on Saturday. So it's definitely getting a little messy. This is exactly why the NBA decided to break the season into 2 halves and the schedule into 2 halves. So all these postponed games will probably be rescheduled in the second half. But yeah, it's just getting really messy. I can't think of the commissioner's name. Adam Silver has said that they are going to try to push through this season, which so has every major sports league. So the only thing I say is I think it's just the first time we're seeing the spread happening in the NBA because they were in the bubble. They had the luxury of being in the bubble during the season. Thoughts of the COVID in the NBA right now, guys?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think we all knew that something like this was going to happen with everybody playing in each other's arenas again. And, they're not in a bubble, so they're not policed, I guess, as they would be in a bubble. So, I'm just hoping that it doesn't get worse. And then, you have to shut down the season, either temporarily or whatever. I hope that doesn't happen. But, right now it looks like that could very well be the case.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a record high as a country in terms of COVID. So COVID doesn't care about basketball.
Yeah.
It don't care about sports. And so it's going to affect every walk of life. And so you can do whatever you want to try to mitigate COVID. But if you are going to be traveling like the NBA to a variety of different cities, and then your players get to go wherever they can go, they're going to be exposed. Like in the bubble, there was no exposure. They tested everybody before you came in, and if you had COVID, you would be quarantined for 14 days until you tested negative 4 times. And so they didn't let COVID in to the bubble. And if it did come in, it got quarantined. And there's no way to do that just out in the world, in regular society. I mean, they've taken measures to try to mitigate it, but they're just simply going the same way baseball went, right?
Yeah.
Baseball had the same problem. Everybody who's not tried to play in a bubble has had the same problem. And so they're just trying to work their way through it and hopefully get to the point probably next month or March where players are vaccinated. And so,
yeah, definitely.
And so I think that's probably what's going to happen. And then the issue will probably resolve itself. But until players are vaccinated, then they're going to have to go through all the contingencies that they built into the season.
Yeah. And the big issue has morely been with contact tracing, not necessarily, more than a few players getting COVID. It's usually like one or so, and then guys that have been around that person, the rule is that they have to quarantine for 7 days. And, that's about today's NBA with the shortened season, it's about 3 to 4 games now. So a lot of these teams are shorthanded. We've seen Kevin Durant miss a whole week for the Brooklyn Nets. So
yeah, and Kevin Durant had COVID before.
Yeah, you're right. He did have COVID. It's a good point.
So that's the protocol, though.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, he still had to quarantine for 7 days.
Yep.
Even though he has the antibodies in his body because he was around somebody. So the protocols take you off the court.
Yep. And like I said, I commend the NBA for that. Like I said, to try to control the spread. And everybody knew coming into this season that this was not going to be like any season that they've ever had before. And I'm pretty sure Adam Silver expected this. And they're doing the best they can.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, just like you were talking about earlier, G, we had the Capitol Hill riots. And that also now it sparked a smaller movement within the NBA. Remember last summer in the bubble when the Kenosha shooting happened, it actually sparked a shutdown in the NBA for a few days. And that also, too, we found out that there was going to be no charges pressed against none of the police officers in the Kenosha shooting. And the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics they went back before the game. They went back into the locker room, and it seemed like they discussed with their teammates and what they wanted to do before coming back out again. And they all decided to take a knee and join together before the game, and that was something that was sparked throughout the rest of the league. And then we had Kyrie Irving, who we know who has been kind of outspoken and moved differently than a lot of players, but has been very in the loop and has done a lot of work in the Black community and with all the protests and everything. And he decided to take it even further, and he kind of went AWOL and decided not to play. And at first it was personal reasons, and I thought it was interesting about that was that when Steve Nash went to go get interviewed before the game, he said he had not spoken to Kyrie, and that he said all he knows right now is that it's due to personal reasons. And I thought that that was different. But then Pepe, your boy, Karis LeVert, talked after the game, and he said that Kyrie did talk to a few of the teammates and that they supported him. And he once again also said that their conversation was going to be private. Kevin Durant said that as well. But he has not played since, and that was 4 games ago. And there has now been another piece of news that he's not going to play tomorrow. So, everybody is pretty much out the loop with it. The rumor is that it has something to do with the protests. And so, but everybody else is pretty much, out the loop with what's going on. I do wish that, Kyrie, he doesn't like talking to the media, but I do wish, he would, speak up for his fans and, just to let us know, like, what is going on and everything. But I'm okay, like, with the, not wanting to play. And, Kyrie's really has his heart set into all this stuff. He's done a lot of charity work in the community, and I mean even before, but mostly as of late, for sure. So, I'm okay with it. Like I said, nobody knows anything. But what you guys' thoughts on how Kyrie's moving about this?
Yep.
At first when I heard of personal reasons, I just thought he was flaking out. Being the weird earth is flat kind of guy. But then I found out later, of course, that he's, really upset about, what's going on at the Capitol. And so, he's a sensitive guy, obviously, right? So he cares about what's going on in our country. He cares about what's going on with Black people and being murdered by the police or whatever the case may be. So, I kind of wish, to be honest, that if he's not going to play, then the whole team said, you know what, we're not going to play either. Because just one guy is taking a stand, that's fine. But I think he should get some support from his own team, and so, and maybe a few teams actually. So, I'm hoping that things turn out for him well. I care about what happens to him in his personal life, and and how things affect him. I mean, just like when someone dies, you can't tell somebody how to grieve, right? So now we can't tell somebody how to react to significant events in our world. So I'm hoping that things can get situated for him, and then perhaps maybe the rest of the league as well, or his team at least, on that aspect. So.
That was well stated, Pep. But it's all speculation.
It is.
Nobody knows why he's gone. I read an article today, Kyrie's off the grid.
Right.
He hadn't told anybody else.
Yeah.
I feel like that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Let your teammates know what's going on. And then let them be able to mentally separate themselves from you and the team if that's what you need.
Yeah.
You need to be separated from the team because you got issues like you just so eloquently stated, then let me know. Right? Don't have me out here wondering, people asking me questions about you. just let me know. It's cool if that's what you need to do for you. But what about me? What about the team?
Yeah.
You got us out here answering questions we can't even answer. Right? That's my whole thing with it. Like, come on, man. Be a grown man. Like, if you got mental problems, maybe the team can help you get mental health. Right? The mental health issues are real.
Yes. Ask Kevin Love.
Yeah, they are real. But communication is the key.
Absolutely.
You got to communicate and let people know what's going on.
Yeah, you let only a couple guys know whatever the issue is. I mean, you don't relay anything to your coach. Pretty sure you really didn't say anything to the organization. And like I said, I don't think that's the way to conduct yourself. At the end of the day, like I said before, like your fans and all that is one thing. You have personal relationships with your teammates, and I'm pretty sure you're close with a lot of them, man.
Yeah.
It just seems like, kind of looks like you're just leaving them hanging in a way.
Yeah, exactly. All I can say is, Kyrie, communicate with your squad. A little low, give us those power rankings, and we'll head to NFL Pep Talk.
Yes, sir. Right now, I have the Lakers still at number 1. They took one loss to the Spurs last week, but rolled through. They played well enough to still stay number 1. The 76ers, who are still playing really good basketball, maybe this is the turn they're taking this year. We'll see at 7-3. And then before today, the Suns were 7-3, now 7-4, before getting mollywopped by the Wizards, but have been playing really good basketball. And we'll see if they can wake up after the Wizards lost. The Boston Celtics
Wizards actually blew out somebody? Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Hey, how about Bradley Beal back-to-back 50s?
Yeah, that boy is hooping. That boy knows that he has the ultimate greenest light I've ever seen. And they don't have anything else besides Russell Westbrook. And, Russell Westbrook's in and out of the lineup. So, yeah, he has to do whatever he can to will wins for these guys. And then to round out, the Boston Celtics at number 4, playing really good basketball, knowing the lineups in and out. And then the LA Clippers have been pretty consistent besides letting up a 25-point lead to the Golden State Warriors and watching Steph go berserk.
Cool. All right, good work, man. NFL Pep Talk with Pep.
Yeah, the playoffs got underway Saturday, as expected. Somewhat surprising result. And so let me dig in here. Buffalo handled business with the Colts. It was a closer game than probably most people thought. But the Colts aren't a bad team. The Colts are pretty doggone good. They got a good running back. I'm sorry?
Phillip Rivers sucks.
Oh, I thought you said something, G. My bad. Yeah, they lost 27-24. And Frank Reich, who used to be a Buffalo Bills hero and former quarterback, said that after the game that he wants Phillip Rivers to return. So next season. So, I guess Jacoby Brissett, I guess he'll never get a shot there. He's going to have to move somewhere else if he wants to get a shot somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Rivers,
I don't know why.
He's not accurate. He's not accurate. I watched him miss a whole bunch of dudes wide open for touchdowns. He's not accurate.
Yeah.
He wasn't pressured.
You talking about Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, he wasn't pressured. He just missed dudes. You can't do that.
Yeah, and I don't know why you think you're gonna go anywhere next year with him. He's getting older. He ain't getting younger. He ain't Benjamin Button. He's getting much older. So I don't know. But anyway, Buffalo moves on. They'll play the Ravens next week.
Good game.
So we talked about the Rams and the Seahawks already. So game 3 on Saturday was Tampa and Washington. And Washington actually made that game a little bit closer than they thought, because their quarterback Taylor Heineke probably had the game of his life, for him. So that was, 31-23 was the final. Brady got chased around by Chase Young and couple of, the Washington got a good defensive line, much like the Rams. They'll probably be Ram-like in the next year or two, in that aspect. But Tampa came away with that one, so they'll play the New Orleans Saints next week for the third time. New Orleans mollywopped them, as Otis likes to say, mollywop. They mollywopped Tampa 2 times last year, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week. And speaking of Baltimore, as I said, they play the Bills. They got revenge because they lost last year in the playoffs to Tennessee, and they lost earlier this year in overtime, where Tennessee actually had stomped and danced and carrying on the Ravens logo. Now, listen, I don't know what makes Tennessee want to do something like that, knowing that if you're in the playoffs, there's a good chance that's who you're going to meet. You know, I said last week, there's 2 teams in this wild card you didn't want to see. You did not want to see the Ravens, and you didn't want to see the Buccaneers.
Right.
And both those teams took care of business. And so Lamar Jackson got his first playoff win, so I was happy to see that, you know, and plus, you know, that 49-yard touchdown was vintage Lamar. So kudos for them, and their defense really stepped up, because it looked like Tennessee was gonna, you know, be on a roll here in the first quarter. You know, that long pass to A.J. Brown and whatnot, but the Ravens tightened up and took care of business. They held Derrick Henry, who got what? How many yards in the season? 2,000 plus.
Yep.
Yeah, you know how many he got Sunday? 40.
Yeah,
That was it.
Hang on them.
They put the clamp down on him. And so basically, Sunday, the middle game was pretty much as expected. Nobody thought that Chicago was going to go into New Orleans and beat them, and that did not happen. The New Orleans won 21-9. Chicago scored on the last play of the game to get those 9 points on a beautiful catch by Jimmy Graham, which is ironically enough. But so New Orleans again will play Tampa. Michael Thomas came back and caught 5 passes for 73 yards. So Drew Brees looked like, you know, I mean, he wasn't spectacular, but he was good enough. You know, when you got Khalil Mack chasing after you, you know, you're gonna have some kind of worry. But overall, they did pretty well. They didn't really have much of a problem with Chicago. And so, of course, we already talked about Cleveland beating the you-know-what out of the Steelers. I mean, you know, people were like, oh, you mad? Are you in grief? I'm like, no, I wasn't mad, because the Browns have been down so long, you know, and Pittsburgh has owned them. You know, it's about time. You look, you can only own it for so long.
Happy for the Browns?
Huh?
You was happy for the Browns?
I'm mad at them. You know, I'm kind of happy for Baker Mayfield. I'm glad he's being, you know, that he's really playing well. He looks like
kind of gentler Steeler fan.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield looks like an NFL quarterback this year. You know, and look, they got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt looked really good yesterday, and he's going back to Kansas City next week with a little chip on his shoulder, a little revenge. So, you know, people think Kansas City's going to have a walkthrough. I'm not too sure about that. You know, if Baker Mayfield can do what he's been doing and that running game gets going, Kansas City going to be in some trouble.
You know, I think they did a great job of remaking Baker Mayfield's image.
Yeah.
You know the best thing that happened to Baker Mayfield?
What's that?
Johnny Manziel.
I thought that was a road he was headed down, honestly.
They said, you want to end up like Johnny Manziel?
No.
Where you going? And but they did a good job of remaking his image, and I like his commercials, man. Them commercials are funny.
I love them.
Yeah.
I can't lie to you. They're funny as heck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the last thing, you know, in the NFL today, Philly dismissed Doug Peterson. He basically fired himself with that crap he pulled in the last game of the season. I mean, you know, I don't feel sorry for him. You know,
I called for his head. You know, I'm glad to see it.
Yeah. You know, when I found out, you know, when they said that he was going to have a meeting with the owner, yeah, you already knew the handwriting was on the wall. It's over.
Yeah. I love the press release from Jeffrey Lurie, their owner. He was like, "Oh yeah, we really love Doug. We look forward to the day that we have the Hall of Fame ceremony. He's inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Super Bowl win, but we're going in another direction." We're going to put it in another direction for the future. We wish him the best.
Yeah.
Bye, Doug. But he lost the locker room, man. When you lose the locker room, it's over.
Yep, done. Yes, sir. So, yep, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's over.
Yeah.
Anything new from UW? They got any wins yet?
Funny you say that.
Got some news?
You say something, Pep? Have you watched the UW game?
Yeah, I saw that game against Stanford. That defense is the worst defense I think I've seen. I mean, man, Stanford could get anything they want at any time. It was crazy.
I'm going to say this, and we're going to go. I watched the Stanford game. I watched the Cal game. Stanford game, just as Pep said, I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand. But they played Cal, who's just as bad as they are. And Cal was missing 2 or 3 of their best players.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, right? Bradley's the best player. He's out. Scores 75-75 with 55 seconds left. Why in the entire hell are you trapping full court? The score is tied, bro. You're giving up layups. Then you're down 3 with like over 30-some seconds left. You still have the shot clock. You're still trapping? Why?
No comment.
Why do you need to trap? Just play solid defense. Like, I'm like, man, I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you serious?
We don't have the Sonics. This is not what we should be able to be seeing from the UW Huskies right now.
Oh, man, I'm like, you're a college coach, though. I mean, I'm sorry, Mike Hopkins. I like you as a person. But I'm like, man, come on, man. That's some grade school stuff right there. The score is tied. Play solid defense. Yeah. You have a shot clock, right?
Right.
You're going to get the ball back. Right? Like,
let me know when high school basketball starts.
Yeah. Well, they moved us to April, so we'll see. We'll see if it even happens then.
All right.
Anyway, we're out of time. It's been a great show. Really, really good job, Pep. Love you like a stepbrother. And, I'm just teasing you. Anyway, I have to give you the same love I give Otis and the Phoenix Suns, who he has in his Power 5 right now. So,
yeah.
On behalf of Renault, Pepe Bean, and Otis Little O Stevenson, I'm Granville Emerson. Thank you for watching LidLine Sports. Michael Carter, aloha, brother. Sports as we see it from just below.
Otis.
I go to work.